Welcome to Sidebar, where you vote on the internet's biggest buttholes. Am I the butthole for having a dress code for our wedding? Hello everyone! We, 29M and 24F, are getting married this September. Up until recently, everything had been going to plan and our months of hard work planning had been paying off. The issue lies in the dress code. We have been clear from the beginning that this is going to be a white tie event, so of course there are strict rules attached to that. One thing we are really looking forward to is our wedding shoot. We have spent a large amount of our own money on a photographer, who we hired after weeks of research and shopping recommendations. The photographer is highly sought after in our area, and we were lucky to book him last year in advance. So naturally we are taking this seriously. We have been clear from the very start that the dress code will be fully enforced. The invitations we sent explicitly told our guests what we'd be expecting from them: white tie, no unnaturally dyed hair, no visible tattoos or piercings, and that they were free to decline the invitation if they had a problem with this. We also sent everybody who RSVP'd a reminder over email several weeks ago repeating this instruction. This was going fine until one of our mothers has recently posted on Facebook a picture of a cocktail-style dress she wants to wear on the day. Of course this isn't included in our dress code, so we informed her right away that the dress would be unacceptable. Another woman, a family friend, asked if she could bring flat shoes to change into after the ceremony. And again we directed her to the white tie instructions. Unfortunately, this has caused a lot of unnecessary drama throughout both our families and even some friends. Both sets of parents, cousins, some siblings, and many more people have messaged us privately to ask us to relax our dress code and allow them to be flexible. This isn't happening, so we have just pointed to our white tie only policy and told them they accepted the rules when they RSVP'd. In our opinion, while wearing knee-length dresses and suits, rather than a tux, might be appropriate for day-to-day life, they will doubtlessly look out of place at a wedding that is supposed to be fully formal. We are hosting a private event where we are able to set the rules. Having been to other weddings over the years, we have fully complied with the wishes of the marrying couple, and we do not see why we should not be given the same treatment. Since we made this clear, we've been called buttholes by people around us. However, in our opinion, this is our wedding and we've been clear about our preferences all along. We have even told our guests that if anyone has a problem with this, they are free to drop out, even though we will still be paying for their seats now and not attend. Am I the butthole for having a dress code at our wedding? Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says, "You're the butthole. It is your wedding and you can do what you want, but it's a wedding, not a photo shoot or a play. The stuff about piercings, tattoos, and hair color is especially ridiculous. If all you care about is nice pictures, then hire models. That way they'll look exactly how you want them to look and they won't complain. If you want an actual party with real people, you need flexibility." Am I the butthole for asking my husband to turn down his dream job for my career? I'm going to be vague for privacy reasons. Sorry. I, 33F, am the breadwinner of our household. I have multiple, highly specialized degrees for a niche industry. I make 200 plus, with potential to get in the 600 M's range. My company has not been hit that badly by COVID, so most of us have kept our jobs, but we're held to strict standards. My husband, 36M, has a broad degree/work experience. He quit his job right before COVID hit, hoping for a better job in the meantime. And I was supportive. He spent a ton of time applying to various jobs, and finally landed an interview at Organization X. This is his dream job, in almost every imaginable way. I can't be detailed. However, it's paying about $65K a year, which would be fine, except this job directly puts my job stability at risk. My company and this org are adversarial, at best. My field is extremely secretive, and if clients discovered my spouse was working for a competitor, I would be permanently tainted. I wouldn't be able to get a job in the industry forever. I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it absolutely is not. It'd be like if I worked in protecting the privacy of celebrities, and he worked for TMZ. If he tapped my car, got into my work devices, he could use that to advance his career, and any trust I have in this field will be gone. Even if I trusted my husband not to do that, my clients and company don't. Worse, B/C, my background is so specialized. This is the only field I can work in. I asked him to drop from consideration for this job, since if he got it, we'd lose my income. $65K a year cannot support us in this city. Plus, he does not have to work for this organization. Even if the job market is awful right now, his background gives him access to a wide range of jobs. But I only have this one niche field. He was extremely angry and said I was selfish and only cared about money. I told him that if he wanted to go back to school for an advanced degree or just be unemployed for a while, I would support him. But taking this job isn't possible. He continued the process behind my back and got the offer. He wants to accept it. B/C says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. I feel so betrayed, and I've contacted all relevant higher-ups in my company to inform them. I notified them as soon as he got the interview. B/C it's better coming from my email than from a background check. I told him he could decline the offer. W/me watching him physically decline it, or he could accept the offer and move out immediately. I would pay for him to stay 2 weeks at a hotel, and we would begin divorce proceedings. My company is willing to take care of all of my legal fees. I feel freaking awful. I still love him. I moved decisively. B/C this was the best way to cut my losses. But it still hurts. He called me heartless and cold. It's true that I was prioritizing my career over his, but it felt like the only option at the time. Did OP act like a butthole? Here's what Reddit thinks. Not the butthole. Some are saying you've decided your job is important than your husband. They're ignoring that he seems to have decided a job offer is more important than your entire career. I was ready to call you the asshole considering we frequently see people unnecessarily prioritize their career over their spouses when compromise is possible. However, he's refusing compromise. To address the people calling this a trust issue, it doesn't matter if she trusts him. Her company and her clients don't. He knows this and chose to pursue this job anyway. If she doesn't trust someone who's willing to destroy her entire career for a single job, I don't blame her. Men aren't usually the spouse making career sacrifices for the greater good of the couple. I don't know for sure, but that could be something he's struggling with. Am I the butthole for saying my babysitting rates are $35 an hour? I'm a software engineer with a full-time job and a side hustle of doing freelance coding work in my own time. I've always been the type to have a side hustle I put a lot of my free time into. I get really bored sitting idle. My freelance hourly rates are $60 an hour, and at my full-time job, my hourly pay works out to about $40 an hour, so that's how I value my time. Anyway, over Christmas vacation, I was staying at my parents' house. My cousin was also staying over with her 3 young kids from Christmas to New Year's. I've been planning on doing some work on my freelance projects when I had free time. In the mornings when my family had no plans, I wasn't in any rush. I was already ahead of schedule on them all, but I didn't really have anything else to do. It was in a really rural area and it's like an hour drive to the nearest anything. Then my cousin and her husband asked if I could babysit all day for 3 days, so they could visit some friends in the area and hang out with just adults. I said I had planned on doing freelance work at the library, and she offered to pay me to babysit. I said I could if they got close to my freelance rates. She wanted a number, and although my freelance rates are $60, I didn't feel like that was right. It was high, but I didn't want to go too low. Honestly, babysitting 3 kids would be harder for me than the routine coding work I had for my freelance project. I don't know a lot about kids and I've never babysat for long, and I had a feeling it would be stressful and difficult, so I said $35, which is below what I make hourly at work, and what is the bare minimum I'd value my time for, if that time is spent doing difficult work. And she went crazy at me, saying that's a ridiculous rate for babysitting, that I was entitled and being selfish, that I'm trying to take advantage of how she didn't have other options, etc. I said that's way below what I'd be making if I had the time to do my own work, and I'd be putting off my own work to babysit. Her husband then got mad at me saying that I was a 24-year-old girl, that I'm dang near a child myself, that my time is not worth that much and it's childish to say that it was, and that I was a stupid girl for not knowing that babysitting costs like $15 an hour. When I grow up and have kids of my own, I will see how stupid I was being. I was kind of done with being called stupid, so I just told them I hope they could find someone else. My mom thinks that I asked for something offensive, and my cousin and her husband obviously did too. Am I the butthole for giving that number? Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says, not the butthole. 3 kids all day for 3 straight days. Even real babysitters would charge more than $15 for 3 kids. Obviously they wanted you to do it as a favor, and got upset that you treated it as an actual job. Am I the butthole for telling my nephew his PS4 was going to be destroyed to teach him a lesson? Okay, I fricked up. My brother-in-law saw one of those stupid videos where they destroy the video game console in front of the child to teach him a lesson. I heard him planning on doing that to my nephew because he failed 2 courses at school. He is 12. I tried talking them out of it, telling them that's not the way. Sell it, hide it, whatever, just don't do it. That was my point. I told my nephew what they were going to do and asked him not to overreact. Just tell them you are disappointed or something that makes them feel bad. If he brings his grades up, I will get him a new PS4. But I want his stupid parents to feel guilty. Last week, my brother-in-law sat him a chair, have a couple of buttholes friends holding him and proceed to destroy the PS4 with a baseball bat, while laughing and yelling and recording. My nephew had a poker face, did not move at all, and whispered something and laughed. His dad stopped, asked everybody to shut up and asked him, "Why are you laughing about?" My nephew said, "You humiliated me. You took something that was mine and humiliated me in front of everybody. You were bigger, stronger, but everybody is helpless when they are asleep. I am laughing because everybody is helpless when they are sleeping. If you are done, I want to go inside. There's something I need to think about." He had an entire week to prepare what to say, and this is what he came up with, and his delivery was freaking scary. I was speechless. Everybody was shocked. I said out loud, "Good parenting, everybody. Good job," and went after my nephew. I spoke with my nephew afterward, and he said that he will tell no one I had told him, and he has no plans on doing anything to his parents at all. He just wants to teach him a lesson as I suggested. Now, my sister booked an appointment with a psychologist. They are sleeping with locks on their doors and caused a family crisis. And I feel like a butthole because I just have to tell them what I did to patch things. But honestly, I just want to see where this is going. Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says, "Not the butthole. That's terrible parenting. I hate the whole throw presents into the fire when kids act up thing. No. How about you use actual discipline and natural consequences instead of being an a-hole? A psychologist will probably be a good thing. Not because your nephew is actually going to do anything to the parents, but because if his dad had two friends hold him back to smash his PS4, laugh, and video it, he's gonna need someone to talk to know that is not normal behavior. If anything, he can tell the truth to the psychologist and they can then speak to the parents about discipline in the future." Finally, here's our headline story of the day. Am I the butthole for refusing to accept my son's relationship with his stepsister? Some backstory. When my son Nathan was 2, he met a friend in his daycare class, who we'll call Abby. Her dad, Jack, was one of the only other single parents there as his wife had left after Abby was born. Jack and I bonded over our children and ended up dating for a year and a half before getting married. And we had our daughter Eliza less than a year later. Jack and I always raised all 3 of our children the same. And though they knew that Nathan had a different dad and Abby had a different mom, we had never thought to question if they saw each other as siblings. Then, last week, Abby and Nathan sat Jack and I down and told us that they had something important to say. Abby started in about how for the past few years her and Jack had been in a romantic relationship. She said that it happened after they were both adults, that they had gone to relationship counseling when it first started, and that they were seriously thinking about marriage. Nathan then told us that they had admitted to having feelings for each other as teenagers, but had never acted on it because they were afraid of ruining their friendship, hurting each other, and most of all what we would think. At this point, Jack looked at me, grabbed my hand and hugged our children. He told them that he was sorry for us keeping them apart and that he could tell how happy they are together. I just got up and left. Where I might be the butthole, my husband is right. They do look happy together. In fact, I've never seen my son or daughter happier. But I just can't accept this. I haven't responded to any of their messages or calls, and pretended I wasn't home when they tried to visit during the day. I've been fighting with Jack since this happened, even so far as telling him that if it were my choice they would never have my blessing, and I would put them both in therapy for having incestuous desires. This really upset him, and the fighting got so bad that I had him sleep in the guest house. I've never gone this long without talking to my children. I've never fought my husband. I have no idea how to navigate this, and every time I think about it their whole relationship just makes me sick and angry. That being said, I know I'm hurting my children. I know I'm hurting my husband. Where Jack might be the butthole. Since Abby and Nathan told us of their relationship, Jack has been going on tirades about how unsupportive I am, about how bad of a mother I am, and about how I didn't do this to Eliza. She's gay, and he's been comparing her and her girlfriend's relationship to Nathan and Abby's. He's even threatened me with divorce, how he would get full custody of Eliza. She's 17 and how he would take me to the cleaners if I didn't accept our children. He hasn't talked to Nathan or Abby about my reaction, but he has threatened to. So, Reddit, am I the butthole? Is OP a butthole? Actually, Lifer has a clear verdict. I'm so confused over the comments. Nathan and Abby were raised as siblings since they were toddlers and share a sibling not much younger than them. This isn't a case of you and Jack meeting when your children were all grown, or possibly a much younger sibling they didn't see much or even living in different houses throughout their childhoods. They were raised as brother and sister, and while they don't share blood, they do have a sister together. I think your reaction is completely normal and justified. I believe OP is not the butthole in the strongest terms. Now it's your time to vote on the buttholeness of the headline story. Is the poster a butthole? Let us hear your thoughts. Go to the pinned comment under this video. Please hit the thumbs up on the reply of YDA. You are the butthole if you think the OP could have been nicer. Or press thumbs up on the reply saying NTA. Not the butthole if you are on the same side as OP. Feel free to leave your opinion and reason why you voted for the option you did in the comments section. And join the discussion. For more buttholes, subscribe to Sidebar.